to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, is there any public comment for items not appearing on today's agenda? All right, seeing no one, do we have any additions to the agenda from the two commissioners? No. All right. Any changes or questions on the meeting minutes? No? All right, take a motion then.
I'll move to approve the minutes from the meeting held January 16th, 2024.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the meeting held on January 16th. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We'll move on to our proclamations. We have our third proclamation of 2024, proclaiming the 76th anniversary of the Marine Toys for Tots and the 37th anniversary of the Nittany Leathernecks Detachment of the Marine Corps League in Center County. And we have quite a group here. So we'll bring up Jean, Donna, Tom, and Bob.
Well, you're only going to get two of them today.
You're only going to get two of them,
So you're
okay.
going to get Bob.
I don't see the extras, but I'll call them off
So I had a
anyway.
dentist appointment, so I
All right.
would rather have been here, but I do have also for the commissioner.
Oh, great.
Thank you.
And an overview that we pass out with the certificates for each of you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Want to thank you again for all of the.
Well, you can actually sit
You
down.
can sit down if you want, that's fine.
Yeah, give you a mic and everything.
Oh, gee.
Not working right.
Well, Stephanie can hear you, so that's all
Yes.
that matters.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, again, thank you for the recognition. We could not do this without a tremendous amount of support. It's interesting, is in the cover sheet, Toys for Tots Foundation counts a total number of toys, and that represents also 5 stocking stuffers count as 1 toy, and 3 books count as 1 toy. But with all that said, we had about 18,000 toys that we distributed here to about 9,400 children in Center and Mifflin counties. On a national basis, had attended the annual coordinators conference last September, and some of the information that we're really proud to be participating with Toys for Tots. On a national basis, they actually said we came up 10,000 children short in 2022. 10,000 short of 10 million.
Oh, wow.
And that
Wow.
the expense ratio was 97.1, that they spent 2.2% for fundraising, and they say they actually get about a $2 to $1 back on that. And how many people may have the solicitation, but they don't really respond to it, but it's on the corner of the desk and reminds them to go out and buy a toy. So they're not going to get rid of that.
Yeah.
And 0.4% was all that was spent on overhead. Even the
Wow.
salaries of all of the full-time people were from interest from an endowment years ago. So 97.1% going to program.
Wow.
And that they've been expanding the program, that it's not just Christmas time. They've had a literacy program for about 11 years, and there were over 2 million books given to Title I schools last year. Worked with 230,000 Native Americans, and also expanding to the foster children. We supported 53 here in Center County this year, but on a national basis in 2022, it was about 500,000. And working with other agencies to provide sort of a holistic approach where some of these kids getting their first barbered haircuts and that kind of stuff. So United Way and other agencies have been participating along with Toys for Tots on that program. So there's a lot of pride in what we're doing and providing hope and joy to children that families that might otherwise, what most of us take for granted, being able to provide some simple thing like toys for Christmas.
That is amazing. The numbers, the children assisted, the broad variety of organizations helped. I'm kind of flabbergasted right now.
Well, as I said, we can't do it without the help of a lot.
Yeah. Commissioner Concepcion, any comments?
Yeah, this is really great work, and the efforts around literacy, we know that kids who have an availability of books in the home, that makes a huge difference in their literacy,
Yes.
K through 3, and then what happens there transfers on or doesn't. So
Yes.
it's really a critical window of time. So that's wonderful you're working to address that. And I think here in the Center County area, it seems like we've seen an increased need on the part of families, is my impression, in terms of families who are struggling to be able to provide to make something special for the holiday for their families with increased costs of, everything from gas to heating to groceries, and that it's impacted families quite a lot.
Yeah, when we look at the retail price of toys, we actually, one of our daughters has adopted two brothers that they fostered for about a year and a half. So purchasing some things on a retail basis. But one of the things that we had passed out, I think it was probably close to 100 of them, we've gotten them again, purchased from wholesalers, a scientific kind of a calculator. And they cost us about $1.50 each. And one of our people looked online at Amazon, exactly the same thing was $14. And sleeping bags, that actually a Penn State grad that has a company called Global USA, Mercy USA in North Carolina, getting adult-sized sleeping bags. I mean, they're not the ones you're going to want out in this kind of weather, but for slumber parties and that kind of thing,
Yeah.
including shipping, $10 each. So able to make those donation dollars go that much further. But my wife, after she spends $18,000 to $20,000 wholesale and then starts buying some things for grandkids on a retail basis, whoa! But,
Yeah.
but that's the reality of what these things cost.
Commissioner Dershowitz?
Well, as they say, many hands make light work, and you've got quite a crew gathered up to get this done, and a lot of folks in the community that habitually come and help you folks out. Not only mention the severe amount of work that it is, because it is a lot, but it's at a time when everybody, traditionally is very busy, and you still find the time to get it done, and it's pretty amazing. But the Marine Corps detachment, or the Marine Corps League detachment here, does a lot more than just Toys for Tots too. And I think I have to highlight your work with Boy Scouts and all honoring servicemen throughout the community. It's just amazing what you folks are capable of doing, and what a few determined folks can do to help our entire area. And I just want to say thank you for all that.
Appreciate that, and your being at the quote-unquote wrapping sessions, since we're not actually wrapping the individual toys now, but my wife coordinates that, and I was hoping she'd be here today, but she's getting ready for a second knee replacement and fighting some respiratory stuff, and the doctor suggested she not be out in public, so would like her, because she is really the one that makes the operation at the Penn Stater work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is Donna watching from home today?
I doubt it, but we'll
We'll say we give her a big high five for all her help too.
It'll be up on CNET very soon.
all right.
She can watch you that. Well, thanks again, Gene and Bob. A tremendous organization. I think you said something like 9,400 children were assisted in Center and Mifflin counties.
Yes.
That's an amazing number.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of that does come at the end, that our primary focus is, again, to get four items per child,
Yeah.
2 for grandparents, for grandchildren that qualify, through the food pantries. And then what's called the unregistered site for anyone that would have otherwise been served by State College Food Pantry or missed the cutoff date with the food pantries. And we had about 40 that came from Mifflin County, where they had run out of toys, that came over to that unregistered site. But there are thousands of items that were still left after Christmas, and that's when Pastor John Atkinson with Park Forest Baptist Church, he's contacted, I didn't get the exact count this year, but last year it was about 70 agencies, and about 15 to 20 would show up, and then they are able to take what they can use for programming needs, and that's where it reached out to another 6,000 kids
Yes.
approximately,
That's fantastic.
part of that 9,400.
Yes, that is fantastic, though. Helping out not just the children and the grandparents, the nonprofits in the area. As Commissioner Dershowitz mentioned, your organization is very active with scouting programs and other charities, too. Thanks again. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thank you to your other service to our country, which is
Yes.
just needs to be noted as well. The Marines have a proud tradition of defense of our nation. And how many years is it now?
50 years this month that I went into the Marine Corps, and still feel like I'm
Wow.
still serving, which I will throw out one additional little.
He's young.
One
So you
additional-
have more than 50 years?
I joined in 1960.
Okay, I can
And
do
so
that
we're
math.
still participating with the Marine Corps over this time. But one thing too about Toys for Tots, in the early 90s, not that the Marine Corps was looking at disbanding Toys for Tots, but out of curiosity, they wondered just what impact it has on Marine recruiting. And if it were not there, what would it have taken monetarily to replace in advertising to make up for that? And back in the early 90s, it was over $40 million a year. And if you probably have seen, the Marine Corps was the only service that met its recruiting goals this last year. So Toys for Tots is helping to preserve the Marine Corps too.
And they had the best commercial ever, so.
Oh,
No, I
yes.
cried during that commercial.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, thanks again to the Nittany Leathernecks Detachment of the Marine Corps League for their stalwart service for the Marine Corps Toys for Tots program. Unless there's anything else, I think we could take a motion and then make the presentation.
Great. So I will move to adopt Proclamation 3 of 2024, proclaiming the 76th anniversary of the Marine Corps Toys for Tots and the 37th anniversary of the Nittany Leathernecks Department Marine Corps League in Center County.
Perfect. I will second that.
Thank you. We have a motion, a second, to adopt Proclamation number 3, proclaiming the 76th anniversary of the Marine Toys for Tots and the 37th anniversary of the Nittany Leathernecks Detachment of the Marine Corps League. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right, why don't you come on up and we'll present the proclamation.
This chair out over here. Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
50 years. I'm just guessing at, what is it, 63, my rough math.
That's right.
Hold that. Thanks. Congratulations again
Thank you.
to Donna for her help.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you very soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amber.
Give Donna our best.
Will
Yes,
do. Thank you.
and speedy recovery. All right, now we'll move on to some pressing business here. We have for our bids and proposals, the Centercrest Building Renovation Invitation for Bids. Going over the bids received by deadline for the Centercrest Building Renovation, I'll hand it over to John.
Good morning, Commissioners. Just a brief recap on where we are with the Centercrest renovation project. Bidding documents were made available December 13th of 2023. A pre-bid site walkthrough occurred on December 20th, and there were two subsequent opportunities for interested bidders to visit the property for follow-up visits to, after they had a chance to look at the bid documentation. We then entered into an RFI period, which is a request for information period, where interested bidders could submit questions to the county, and our design and construction management team then would follow up with answers through an addendum process. And those addendums were posted for everyone to see at that point. Bids were due on January 17th by 2 p.m., and we had the public opening at 2:15 p.m. that day. On the agenda is the list of the various primes that submitted complete bids for consideration. So at this point, then, we are asking for approval to enter into bid review. After the end of the bid review period, there is the intent to award to the various primes next week on January 30th. Once that occurs, the awardees would then have to submit all contractor and subcontractor qualification certifications, performance and payment bonds certificates of insurance, et cetera, before the expected date for notice to proceed, which will be February 12th. But for today, we are seeking authorization to enter into bid review.
Well, that sounds great, John. I think it was a successful bid process. We would like to thank the Controller's Office for their assistance in that process, and we've got bidders for all of the major sections, and I believe potentially the winning bidders are all located in Pennsylvania, or at least have major operations here, because I think every bidder meets that requirement. I'll hand it over to Commissioner Concepcion for any questions or comments.
Yeah, just a major thank you to John, to the Controller's Office, to our Facilities Director Lee for shepherding this project to this point, and to the point that we have some, really a good competitive bid process where we've gotten some promising results here. So glad to be moving forward. So,
Commissioner Dershowitz?
I'm good. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions or comments? No? All right. Looks like we do have an action item on this.
I'll move to enter into bid review for the Centercrest building renovation.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second to enter into bid review for the Centercrest building renovation. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Great. Thanks again, John, and the rest of the staff for a massive amount of work on this, plus the architect and Massaro, the construction manager, too. We'll move into contracts and authorizations. I believe we've got Norm here from Emergency Communications for a professional services contract.
Good morning. Requesting approval of a professional service contract with Mission Critical Partners to provide professional support to manage some radio tower site capital improvement projects in 2024 that were identified for a budget year. MCP will specifically be responsible for project management of the tower inspections, antenna replacement work, remote shelter roof replacements, and ice mitigation work. Their product experts in these fields will manage the proposals, contract negotiations, vendor management, project completion and sign off, and will update our capital asset inventory plan. The contract total is not to exceed $65,000. The contract runs from January 1st, 2024 to December 31st, 2024.
Great, thanks for the explanation, Norma. Unfortunately, I think a lot of the people at home don't realize the millions and millions of dollars of infrastructure it takes to run the 911 department. All of the computers, the software, the back-end work, is it 17 towers? I know it's an odd number in the upper teens.
Yeah, we have 19 towers.
19 towers throughout the county. All of the internal radio systems inside of county government. It's a huge capital investment, and we just have to keep on top of it and keep things in good repair.
We're almost going to do $1 million worth of capital improvements in 2024, mainly focusing on the tower site infrastructure, which keeps the radio system working.
Good. Commissioner Concepcion, questions or comments?
Yeah, no, I think this is a good move so that we're sure that we're keeping all of these really complex systems working in good working condition. So, and I think Mission Critical Partners has worked with the county in some other capacities, including in IT, and has been a good partner. So.
Commissioner Dershowitz?
Yeah, MCP has been a fantastic partner, and I'm glad we can continue to work with them to make sure our system is successful. Thank you.
Yeah, their expertise in especially the radio end was shown in 2013 when we went live with the radio system, and I think it's a good matchup for this.
Good.
Great. And have an organization that does this nationally. They're headquartered here, but they're a national company. So great that we're able to work with somebody local for something this important. Great. Unless there's any other comments or questions, I think we can move forward with the motion.
I'll move to add the contract with Mission Critical Partners to next week's consent agenda.
I'll second that.
We have motion a second to add the contract with Mission Critical Partners to next week's consent agenda. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll move on to planning and community development. Got a couple items there. Is it Tanya?
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
that's correct.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
I wanted to let you know that I am Tanya Collins, and I am transitioning into the CDBG role that Mitzi Long had held with CEDACOG. So just continuing that relationship and moving along with the projects that are currently underway. So.
Nice.
First, I have submitted for your approval is the professional services agreement with CEDACOG for the administration of the fiscal year 2022 Community Development Block Grant contract. The contract total is $98,400.
All right, and then if you cover the next item too, we're
Sure.
going to take both of them at the same time.
No problem. Second thing submitting for your approval is an amendment number 2 to the 2020 professional services agreement with CEDACOG. The amendment will add an additional $6,300 in administration services. This is for the Haynes-Arensburg Water Well Rehab Phase 2 project. This was phased out into that Phase 2, so a new ER and environmental review and new labor standards compliance were added to that project.
Great, well, thanks for explaining both of those, Tanya, and glad to see you come here to Center County.
Thank you. Glad to be
Hopefully
here.
The weather turned out to be a little better than we thought it was going to.
Yes, yes,
so
no problems coming in, so.
Appreciate your coming and explaining the two items. Commissioner Concepcion, questions?
No, just a note that, for our viewers, what the CDBG program does, it really helps with infrastructure needs for areas of the county or, throughout the state that have, maybe don't have the resources to make it easy for them to keep up with their infrastructure.
Yes.
So.
Commissioner Dershowitz?
Just welcome aboard.
Thank
Looking
you.
forward to working with you not only in these projects, but many in the future. So
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Great, well, thanks again, Tanya, and we look forward to working with you on the Community Development Block Grant Program, which in Center County is primarily infrastructure and oftentimes water and sewer projects in the
Yes.
more rural parts of the county.
But we do have some competitive community development block grant projects in the works or somewhere in the process. Am I
Yes.
correct? Yes.
There is the Haynes-Arensburg, the main one was a competitive project. And then we are submitting an application for Eagle Creek as well,
Okay. When will that happen? I'm just curious.
February, next
Okay.
month.
Oh,
Yep.
very good.
Okay.
Yeah, I know Eagle Creek could use some assistance
Thank you.
too. That's great. All right, unless there's anything else, look like we could take a motion.
I'll move to approve the planning and community development items 1 and 2.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve the two items for planning and community development. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, nay, motion carries. Great, thanks for coming, Tanya.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Pleasure meeting you.
All right, now we'll move to Information Technology Services with Chad.
Good morning. Today I have a contract termination with Ignite. Ignite's a platform the county's used for about 10 years for secure file storage. So this contract's traditionally cost us about $23,000 a year, but with the implementation of Microsoft Office 365, being able to use OneDrive and SharePoint, we've migrated all of the departments that were using Ignite off of Ignite onto Office 365 environment. So this is a contract termination. Contract ends March 28th, so this will be within the 30-day termination clause.
Oh, great, well, thanks for keeping on top of that, Chad, and saving the county a little bit of money. Commissioner Concepcion, any questions?
Sounds good.
Commissioner Dershowitz?
No, I just appreciate that, and I want to remind everybody, I think there's been an unfortunate breach of information from the state level, from the state police and the, I guess, the state retirement system. So just as a reminder to everybody to be careful, be aware. There's phishing scams and all that other crazy stuff's out there, so just as a heads up,
Yeah.
keep things squared away.
Yep, use two-factor authentication.
Use whatever you need to use
Yeah.
to keep us safe, so we have too much confidential information to share.
Yep.
Yep.
Great, thanks. Unless there's anything else, we'll take a motion.
I'll move to add this contract termination with Ignite to next week's consent agenda.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second to add the contract termination with Ignite to next week's consent agenda. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Great. Thanks,
Thank you.
Chad.
Thank you.
Move to Human Services, Dave with Transportation.
Good morning. Thank you,
Good morning.
Commissioners. And I come and ask for consideration of approval of an in-kind purchase of 2 vehicles from Penn State University using our in-kind funds. It will allow us to continue our rotation of vehicles in and out of the fleet that have met their useful life and help meet the needs of the departments that will put them in. We have a 2016 Dodge Caravan and a 2017 Ford Explorer that are available for purchase. The total cost, including the 10% fee, is $30,993 of in-kind dollars to obtain these two vehicles. We've inspected them, and they certainly will both help us within our departmental needs, for sure.
Wonderful. Well, thanks for tracking those vehicles down, Dave, and making that happen. Always helpful to the county, especially more specialty vehicles like these.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Commissioner Concepcion, any questions?
No, looks good.
Okay.
Commissioner Dershowitz?
Yep.
All
More
right.
vehicles in the fleet. Thank you.
Good.
Okay, I'll move to approve the in-kind purchase of 2 vehicles from Penn State University.
I will second it.
We have a motion and a second to approve the in-kind purchase of 2 vehicles from Penn State University. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. All right, and now Beth is all ready to go for elections and then another item.
Do you want me to do all 4 together, or would you like to
If you
do
would,
them
all
separate?
4,
Okay,
yes.
perfect. So I'm here today asking for consideration for some equipment to assist with the upcoming presidential primary and then the fall presidential election. Consider approval for the purchase of 10 4-station Franklin voting booths from Election IQ. These booths will be used to comply with the ADA requirements, and the total is $9,690. Item 2, consider approval of the purchase of 10 express voting machines that are ADA compliant and 1 DS950 high-speed scanner and tabulator, as well as the firmware and software upgrades that are necessary to operate the machines for, and then the annual post-warranty for the machines as well at $5,210 per year, and the total for all of that would be $2,330,000.
Yeah, $203,030.
Yes. Consider approval of the upgrade of the PYO network server and EMS software. This is necessary for the new software or the new equipment. This is what we use to program the election, and the total for that would be $7,567. And then item 4, consider approval of the purchase and installation of a 4 gigabyte CFast cards for 120 DS200s and 2 DS450s. And that are the cards necessary to upgrade the scanners for the new software. And the total for that would be $12,410.
Great, thanks for going through all that, Beth. The purchase of especially the high-speed scanner will allow us to hopefully report results more quickly, and also, should we need to do a recount, you can't recount ballots on the same machines that counted them in the first place, and this gives us a lot more flexibility. I think in the past, during recounts, we may have had to have rented equipment, which is
Correct.
quite expensive.
Yes.
Yes. Commissioner Concepcion?
No questions, but it seems like these are important purchases to get us prepared for what could be a record-setting election year in terms of turnout and number of voters participating. So.
Exactly.
Commissioner Dershowitz?
And I am correct that we have about $300,000 in state grant money carried over from last September, to which we will apply this.
Well, actually, we will use that for the other items in our line item, and then the money that we had earmarked for electronic poll books will be used for this purchase. But
Right.
yes,
Okay.
Okay.
Depending which
but-
pocket it comes from.
Yes.
There's $300,000 out there that you have not spent for
Correct. Yes.
other projects and upgrades. Okay, thank you.
And the original source of that money is a state grant, so,
correct.
yes,
We appreciate that.
yes,
Yes.
Tell them thanks.
yes.
Yes. All right, I will move to approve election items 1 through 4 then.
I will second that.
We have motion and a second to approve the 4 election department items. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, nay, motion carries. And now, Beth, you've got a couple of CNET requests.
Correct. I have 2 sponsorship requests for, item 1 is for the taping and the live stream of the 2024 general primary vote-by-mail processing room at the Penn Stater and Conference Center, as well as the Emergency Operations Center at the Willow Bank. So we will be live streaming once again all of our counting processes for the primary election. And then item 2 is a sponsorship for the taping to produce a video covering voting by provisional ballot. So we're going to be working on creating videos that we can show on our website, and the voters can actually use a QR code to bring those up in the precincts on Election Day as well.
Just one question. Stephanie, are you going to be in charge of producing this fantastic public?
That's in charge, but I'll be doing that.
Okay.
Excellent.
She's going
All
to be
right.
the professional videoing that I
All
don't
right.
have the skills for.
All right, as long as Stephanie's doing the video work.
Yes.
Well, thanks for also explaining that, Beth, and obviously, we've been doing the live streaming of the vote-by-mail processing room ever since we started counting the mail-in ballots in addition to the absentees. And, yeah, I do think that producing a video covering how to vote a provisional ballot will really help our citizens out, especially at some of the busier polling places.
And knowing what to expect.
Yes. That'd be great. Commissioner Concepcion?
No, I think this is going to be helpful for public information about just how the whole process works. So.
Yes.
Commissioner Dershowitz?
I don't think it can be overstated that we need to educate folks, particularly with the provisional ballot system, that they need to be registered at the right place, in the right place, or mail in their ballot, or make sure that they are at the right place at the right time so their votes are counted appropriately.
And knowing who is eligible to
Right.
cast a provisional ballot. That's the important part.
Yeah, we've always tried to let everybody, make sure that they cast a ballot, but it seems counterproductive if you're not actually casting a ballot that will be counted.
Correct.
Or at least partially counted.
Or
Yes.
partially.
Yeah.
So, thank you for all that.
Yes, thanks, Beth. Unless there's anything else, I think we could take a motion.
Okay, I will move to approve the CNET sponsorship items 1 and 2.
I will second it.
We have a motion and a second to approve the 2 items for CNET. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, pose nay, motion carries. Have a fairly small consent agenda. So we
Thank
just-
you.
Thanks, Beth.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So we just move forward with a motion then.
I'll move to approve this week's consent agenda.
I will second
We
it.
have a motion and a second to approve this week's consent agenda. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, pose nay, motion carries. All right, now we'll move on to the check run. It's kind of a big one.
Yeah, so on this week's check run, what I'd like to highlight is we have a check to CenterSafe. It's an organization headquartered downtown at State College that provides services to victims of domestic violence, including helping them navigate the legal system when they're in those circumstances. It's an organization that's really critical in terms of the mission that they serve in our community. And with that, I'd like to move that we approve the check run dated January 19th, 2024.
I will second it.
We have a motion and a second to approve the check run dated January 19th. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, pose nay, motion carries. Any administrators report, Jeff?
Nothing to report at this time.
All right. We'll move on to our voter registration report.
Okay.
Looks like Commissioner Concepcion has one ready.
Have it ready. So at this time, in Center County, our total number of registered voters in the county is 100,780. That is down 21 from last week. Of those, 42,283 are Democratic, 138 Green Party, 605 Libertarian, 13,826 have no affiliation, and 40,879 are registered Republican. And then all of the other minor parties put together are 3,049. This week, our party of the week is the American Party, and they have 1 registered voter. Our precinct of the week is Precinct 42. It's College South. They vote at the State College Assembly of God South entrance at 2201 University Drive. And that's a pretty busy polling place, and I think it's worth noting there's actually 2 polling places there. So it depends which entrance you come in, which precinct you belong to. And that's our report. So.
Great. Thanks, Commissioner Concepcion. I don't think we have any other announcements besides the public meeting schedule. And then, John, We don't have any executive sessions, I think, that we held, but we're perhaps
We'd
going
like-
to move into one.
Yeah, no executive sessions to report, but we'd like to hold a brief executive session to discuss a legal matter.
All right, so we'll do that after this meeting. So we'll need eventually a motion to go into executive session. All right, for the public meeting schedule, we have the Housing Task Force this morning at 11. That's the initial formation of that group. On Thursday, the 25th, we have the Finance Committee at 9, the Board of Commissioners at 10, combined with the Salary Board at 10. And then on Tuesday, the 30th, another Board of Commissioners meeting at 10 a.m. I don't see any press for questions. So unless there's anything else for the good of the order, we'll take a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to go into executive session at 10:36. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. We are in executive session.